Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday. And I'm excited to be here. I'm looking forward to this conversation for quite some time. I have an emerging humorist in the room. Nissa Kindle is here. We're talking about ducks, chickens, stretchy pants, all sorts of fun things today. We're going to talk about the news first off. And the weather's going to be crazy this week, you know. And like I said, if you have nothing better to talk about, you talk about the weather. It's 39 degrees. Now, tomorrow, get this. Or, I'm sorry, on Thursday, get this. It's going to be 84 degrees. And this is going to dip back down on Friday to 66. And if I was in the commissioner's court, I'd be saying, well, it's really dry out there. When you get some rain, 10% chance on Wednesday. Today we're moving towards a high in the probably the high 60s, maybe low 70s. But 84 on Thursday. That's crazy. And it's just going to cool right back down. So we'll see how that looks. Markets this morning. I don't even know what to make of what's going on in the markets. With this whole thing with GameStop, I don't even fully understand what's going on. I got too much going on to even look at that at this point. It's something with Reddit. And they're mad, and they drove the price up on GameStop and some other stuff. And the markets are like, everyone's mad about it, you know. And there's some people who are like, well, you people have been kind of messing with us for a long time, the stock market. So it's time for you to get messed with. And that's what happened. The Dow's up this morning of a 1.5, trading at 30,626. The NASDAQ trading up this morning at 13,547, and the S&P 500 trading up at 3821. We're talking about some news and notes today. You know, I know usually I don't start off with this stuff, but I saw it on social media, on the Facebook, and it's horrifying. And you know what? Okay, I don't really get it sometimes. Like, what in what world? Common sense. I mean, I guess this is like, you know, America now, right? Good morning, Brenda. I'm going to talk about Brenda here in a minute, but you know, it's a moment where your dogs get out, right, and that happens. I've had it happen. Everyone I know has had it happen. It's not good. And the dogs get out and they see some chickens. And what do dogs do? They chase animals. I had a dog. He loved to chase any animal that was out there because he was a little guy and he had little man syndrome. The owner of the chickens thought that it was a good idea not to see that the dogs had collars on, that these were probably someone's pets. He just shot and killed these dogs. And apparently these were the dogs of the principal of Tybee High School, Shelby Balzer. A black lab, and it looked like a Jack Russell. Now, Jack Russells will kill the stuff for sure. Black lab's probably along for the party. But, I mean, what common sense, you know, do you think to yourself, you know what, I'm just going to take my AR out and I'm going to shoot those dogs. I'm not that sure it was an AR, but, I mean, I'm just saying. You know, at what point in your minds, I mean, that's the first thing I think of. Oh, there's a dog. I have a neighbor whose dog is always out, and he is obnoxious. The dog is obnoxious. And the interesting thing I think to myself, you know, I'm going to shoot that dog. I never have thought about that once. Because I haven't shot a gun in almost 35 years. So I know that seems weird. It was actually the fall of 1988. The last time I shot a gun. Good morning, Lynette. Good morning, Brenda. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. Well, hey, Sally, there's a couple dogs in my front yard. Give me my gun. Take those dogs out. That's kind of I don't know. It's a pre-modern kind of way of thinking. And I get that the dog will kill a chicken and eat it and then choke to death on the bones or the feathers. I get it. But at what point in your life did you say to yourself, well, I'm just going to shoot that dog? I don't get that at all. You know, and like I have deer that squat pee in my front yard. And it's so gross and annoying. I thought to myself, no, stop it. Stop it. And I thought, you know what? If I shot that deer, I'd be in trouble with the state. Even though it's squat peeing on my property. But I don't know. That's the most unsettling thing about living in Texas, by the way, is squat peeing. So I never thought I would see that. It's weird. It's the weirdest thing in the world. And even the bucks do it too. Like, they don't lift their legs. Come on now. All right, sorry about that, everybody. We're apologizing for this already this morning. It's been out of control. Yesterday was one of those days where I was really, really tired, and Jeremy Walter decided to have an event at 4:00 in the afternoon on a Monday, and I was just dead. And it was cool. It was opening of the new murals for here on the Clay Street South, and across the street. You can kind of see it over my shoulder this morning, although we're a little bit backlit today. I think somebody moved my camera by the way because Nissa's like out of. Oh, there you are. Very lovely. Nissa's going to be here just to talk in a second here, after I get done rambling. But we had the murals dedicated to yesterday. Bill Tavis's mural over here behind my shoulder. There it is. You can only see part of it. That's the one of Harry Dietert. Bill Tavis is an Austin artist. He finished that last year. He was here for a couple of weeks painting it. It's kind of a half-tone type of look. It's on the Napa building. Very cool. And the thing I love about it is Harry Dietert. I love the audacity of Harry Dietert in like 1912, driving an inexplicably small car through the really bad roads of Kerrville probably at that time. They probably weren't what they called mechanized at that time. That means they were paved. So, I mean, it had to be a bumpy ride, a dusty ride. But there he was as a teenager riding that thing and on to a career in automotive parts. And then Stephen Dietert, who was related to him, a descendant of the Dietert family, made the comment, too, that the Dietert tool factory is still in operation today. So, an interesting connection to Kerrville. And then down on Water Street, at the Clay Street and Water Street's corner, the works of Sarah and Andrew McWilson of Hand in Hand Creative were also honored as well. And I definitely recommend take a look at that. And get down. You have to actually really get into. You need to stand over where the museum's going to be at the Shriner Museum over the Butt Holdsworth Memorial Library Complex campus, and just take a look at that and enjoy that scene. It's a very cool moment and very cool people, and it was nice to have a moment celebrating something that was positive in our community after an absolutely horrendous start to the year. So January has been a lot of fun, and this is for all of you out there. This is where we begin the COVID-19 transition, because we had 3 more deaths reported at Peterson Regional Medical Center over the weekend. I'm not sure now. Here's the problem I'm having with this: is that you have days when so many people die. You're not sure when they die, where they die, how they die. I mean, it's just been nuts. So there was 3 deaths at Peterson. We're presuming over the weekend because there's none on Friday. So either Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, which means that the death toll this month in January actually would be about 39 or 40 people, and they're still counting. I think we had 47 deaths in roughly, or 44 deaths roughly in December. And remember that over the last few years, pneumonia and the flu has killed about 20 people a year, mostly pneumonia, here in Kerr County. That's a fact. Okay, that's how bad COVID has been. So I think we're now at the point now where people are trying to realize, because I said talking about this yesterday, the reason why the vaccine issue is so hot for people is that they are understanding now because everybody knows somebody who's died of COVID. So the people who out there who are idiots who would say like, "Oh, well, it's not really real." Well, then you know people who die from it, or you know people who have suffered from it, and it's becoming more and more real to those. 60 Minutes did a really good job on Sunday night of talking about the diversity of people who have died from COVID, focusing on a lot of younger people. There was one sort of underlying issue there that a lot of these people were sort of heavy. Obese, I guess we call it. But they were fairly young people as well. One was a jogger. One was a young father. Father killed his father-in-law, killed him, and the father that died from it. He had spent 60 days in the hospital fighting this thing, and his wife, when she got the bill, it was $4 million to treat him. Now and then. The hospital graciously didn't tell her that, oh, by the way, insurance paid for this. They left her hanging for months until she finally found out that insurance paid the whole thing. So this is a very serious issue to a lot of people. Now, a lot of people are getting mad about this thing, and they're upset about the vaccine thing. And so yesterday I took some time out of my day, and I really spent some time digging into where we were at with the vaccines. And the vaccines are it's pretty clear cut as far as I'm concerned. And you know what's interesting? If you actually look at it on a map, strategically, if you're going to put in, if you have limited vaccine, just from a strategic perspective, and you need to get to some of these rural counties, Fredericksburg makes a certain amount of sense, as does Uvalde, because you get those southern counties and those counties kind of to the west of there, and the same thing with Fredericksburg. You get all those counties to the north of Fredericksburg that can't get to San Angelo, that maybe Kerrville's too far, and so it's sort of centrally located. It's not an ideal situation, but I think what happened, because I looked at this, October 16th, the state sent out guidelines to all of the vaccine providers saying, here's what we're going to do. You need to get this done, and you need to get this. You need to get ready for this, and we're going to start evaluating counties on their ability to distribute this vaccine. Now, also keep in mind too that a lot of these counties that got it, we also had public health authorities working with them, and so part of the challenge with Kerr County, I have to believe, is that we don't have that infrastructure in place. We have Peterson Regional Medical Center, which is very involved. But essentially, the county leads the effort on this one. And I can tell you right now definitively, I don't think the county really dropped the ball on this. I can give the county a hard time for a lot of things, but I think that Dub Thomas, for the most part, pays attention to stuff. So I think I think what happened was that the state just said, look, this is the best we can do right now, because the underlying story on all of this is there's not enough vaccine. And they say that in October. There's probably not going to be enough vaccine to go around. So in that period, we're going to have to do this, this, and this. And then in phase 2, we'll start to expand it when we have more vaccine available. And it's not helpful. I mean, if you look at the pace we're going to go to now, right? We're getting about, yesterday I found out that we had about 200 more doses than we were told that we were going to get. So Peterson got another extra 100, and Walmart got an extra 100, right? And if you think about that right now, so we get 1,200 doses maybe for a week, right? It's going to take us 2.5 months, if not longer, to vaccinate all of the people who are vulnerable in this community. 14,000 people. Or those who don't have the wherewithal to get down to Uvalde, which has apparently a really good system in place, or up to Fredericksburg. Now, here's the thing, right? Even though they cannot discriminate against you because you live in Kerrville. So just keep that in mind as well. They have to take you. So just because you don't live in Uvalde or Gillespie County, or Bexar County, they have to take you. So if you want to get down there and get signed up, you need to do that, right? If you're in that age 65 and over, I recommend it, right? Because here's the lie. Here's the lie that people will tell you. Okay, they'll tell you all the time. They say, "Oh, well, this is 99% survivable." Yeah. If you're 4 years old, right? If you're 4 years old. If you're 65 and older, not so much. If you have any kind of immune compromise situation, not so much. If you're, moderately obese, which, clinically here in the United States, that's like half the population, not so much. So, yeah, it's 99% survival for the general population of the country. But if you start to drill down into demographics, it's a different story. And the thing that we've learned about this over and over again is that it doesn't discriminate. Well, it's hard. You don't even know what it is. You talk to people who've had coronavirus, and they're like, they have wildly different stories. It's crazy. I have never talked to sometimes people will say, well, I lost my sense of smell. I've talked to people who said, I've been so nauseous that it made pregnancy look pleasant. Right? So there you go. That's my rant for the morning. Hope you're all doing well. And I think that's something that we need to keep in mind. And so for those of you out there who are going, oh, it's the city council's fault and the county's fault. I don't think the rank and file county employees missed anything on this. They just weren't included. Okay. Was the leadership at the state level abominable? I think you could argue yes. Does Greg Abbott know what he's doing? I would say no. Governor of Texas. And there's an uncomfortable truth for a lot of people out there, right? It didn't have to be this way, and it is. Okay. There you go. So that's where we're at with this thing. Also, want to make sure you know that one of the interesting things too, I found this as well, and who knows if it's accurate because DSHS is horribly inaccurate when it comes to actually presenting data. The external communications failures on the COVID-19 are staggering. To be honest with you, like I think that if the aliens attacked tomorrow, we wouldn't be able to communicate about it. They would say, well, the aliens attacked Corpus Christi, but we're not really quite sure what really happened. Let me get back to you next week on that. That's how it's been for coronavirus, right? So you have no idea how many active cases there are. I mean, the county tries to tell you that, but they don't know either. They don't even know how many people die in this community, right? They don't even know. They don't even admit. They'll say permanent residents. No, it's not permanent residents. There have been leadership failures. There have been leadership failures at the county level, leadership failures at the state level, and clearly there have been leadership failures at the national level. All it took was for one person to say, wear a mask. This is going to be really bad. It's worse than the flu, and we'll be okay. We knew that. He knew that. Anyway. All right, enough of that. God, there's so much going on. Yesterday they had a beautiful cello experience over at Peterson Regional Medical Center. They keep playing this music on Mondays. It's fabulous. We had the updates, or we had the beautiful unveiling of the murals, which Ashley Phillips apparently missed. Thanks a lot, Ashley. So, and then I saw Crazy Talk, by the way. Andrew Murr. I don't know why I look at the Credible Daily Times anymore, but Andrew Murr said that he is maybe supportive of a secession bill. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Any state that wants to secede, God bless you. But honestly, is it really that smart? Where are you going to get your grapes from? Where are you going to get your tomatoes from? Come on now. Stop it. You really can't. It's really not designed to be, an independent republic. I mean, you could do it. You'd be like Moldavia or Lithuania, one of those places. But, I mean, come on now. We're better together as one. Stop with the secession talk. Every time we have, now it's every time we're going to have opposing parties, we're going to have secession talk. Republicans are in power, California wants to secede. The Democrats are in power, Texas wants to secede. Stop it. I'm done with all of you. Nissa, can you restore order here? Can you help me?
Yeah, where do you want to start?
Well, I've now ranted for 17 minutes. You've sat here patiently with that. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks.
This is your first appearance on the show.
Yeah.
You and by the way, I'm probably drinking poisonous milk.
I think so.
I think it's bad.
Let's not.
Yeah.
We're not going to negative advertise.
I'm not going to do that. So, okay. Yeah, I brought the milk in myself, so it's my fault. I'll blame myself.
Thanks.
You have written 2 columns now for the Lead, which I'm very proud of, quite frankly. I'm proud of them because I think they're delightfully funny.
Thanks.
So, I mean, you just write these observational things. And in fact, I told you about this like the end of last year. I said, you're an observational columnist waiting to happen. And you probably thought I was crazy, right?
Yeah.
And now you've seen 2 of them. Have you gotten any reaction from anybody? Has anybody even seen it?
I don't know. I haven't seen that many people.
So you kind of lock yourself away, and you don't.
No, actually, I am okay. So, talking about COVID and being out and stuff, I have not locked myself away. But it's not because I don't believe that it's a bad situation. Right. It's because I have multiple jobs and I'm just out there.
You're out there.
So, but
you have multiple jobs?
I do.
Really?
Yeah. And they're varied. So this will be good.
So okay, wait a minute. So you work for the foundation at the hospital.
I do.
That's your day job. We're not going to talk about that, but and then you have another job.
I do. I work at Tractor Supply. So
you're at Tractor Supply.
Yeah, part-time.
What do you do there?
I do mostly work the register.
Oh, really?
So yeah.
Is that because you want to get deals on things, or you need a little bit of extra money?
No, my mom said I told her, I said, Mom, I worked there like over a year.
Yeah.
Like last October was a year.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it would be that long, but
right.
It's pretty fun actually. But I said, Mom, I'm going to work at Tractor Supply part-time.
Yeah.
Some extra income. She's like, that's not going to go well for you. Because I'm such a tomboy that, I like all the stuff there and spend. Maya asked me the other day.
Yeah. That's Maya's your sister.
Yeah.
Right.
She said, so have you ever done a study, of what you make versus what you spend there? I said, no. She goes, don't you think that would be fun? I said, No.
Yeah, right.
Not really. Thanks. So, and then I work a third job in Fredericksburg occasionally.
Oh, my gosh.
Security.
Oh, that's right. You told me that. You're
unarmed.
You're unarmed.
Luckily.
So do you just stand there with authority?
I do. Well, sort of.
You police the kids, right?
I police the kids. I make sure that the grown kids, when they have too much to drink, don't take their drinks with them.
Right.
They don't climb on things. They,
Isn't that amazing? You have to tell adults that stuff.
Yeah.
Is it just me, or is Fredericksburg turning into? There's a place where we grew up, and my wife and I grew up in California, where it's a big wine country area now, and it's like basically like bridal shower, alley.
Oh yes, it is a wedding destination.
Yeah,
it really is.
But like you see these gangs of women, like bride to be,
yes.
and they're like it's like a posse that runs down the streets there.
Yep.
Because you can carry alcohol openly in Fredericksburg.
You can.
Right? Yeah.
So the reason I have to tell people you can't take that with you is not because of Fredericksburg proper. It's because the venue that I'm working at doesn't want to be responsible for people taking it out and what happens after that. Right,
when they fall into the gutter on market plots, whatever it is, maybe. You're getting some thanks already. Ashley Phillips saying thank you for joining the lead. I enjoyed your columns.
Oh, good.
So there you go. Tractor Supply is one of those places, by the way. There's certain stores like I am not handy at all, right? But I love going into Harbor Freight.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, wow, look at all this stuff. Yeah. Look at all this material that we have. Yeah. So
I do a lot of reading about how to build and fix things, and I do a lot of reading about how to cook, and I don't really do either one of those things.
Right. I just seen some breaking news here, by the way.
What?
The Washington Post reporting that multiple FBI agents have been shot.
What?
In serving a warrant in Florida. Multiple FBI agents were shot while serving a warrant in Sunrise, Florida, early Tuesday morning. A spokeswoman for the Sunrise Police Department said the agents were serving a warrant with officers from the law enforcement agencies at an apartment in Water Terrace apartment complex on Reflections Boulevard when the incident took place around 6 a.m. She said multiple shots were fired and a person barricaded themselves inside the apartment. The preliminary reports indicated that more than one FBI agent had been shot, but the spokesperson could not detail the exact number or extent of the injuries. So breaking news that we're kind of falling right now, and the power of phones as you get there, and so we'll keep an eye on that as we go along. But and also the impeachment continuing as well, and it's Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day.
It is. I forgot to mention that.
Right, it's Groundhog Day.
I was going to remind you that. And
Good morning, Delane, by the way. Good morning, Delane Siegerman. It's Groundhog Day. Did you ever watch the movie Groundhog Day?
I did, yeah.
And do you buy into the sort of belief that it is how should I say? I mean, there's a lot of people who think that movie is like high philosophy. Like what do you do with your life if you were given that day over and over and over again? Do you have any redemption? Do you kill yourself if you can't get out of it,
Yeah, I guess if you think that's like an English class
right.
question,
right.
It's like all the meaning in the book. I'm like, I don't know. I just read the book.
I just read the book.
It was entertaining, and I moved on.
Do you ever try to count the days the number of days that Bill Murray is actually in the town?
No.
In
Did you? How many was it?
I don't know.
Oh.
I give up. It's like trying to watch the John Wick movie and trying to figure out how many people he killed.
Yeah.
So wait a minute, he killed how many people? He killed like 35 guys. He's like a mass murderer, but it's hard to say. It's just one of those things. Oh, I guess he said we're gonna have more cold. They drug it out, and he said it's gonna be more.
Oh,
so
did he? That was the result for today.
But if he sees his shadow.
Yeah.
If he sees his shadow, it's more cold or is it less cold? I don't remember what it is exactly.
I don't either.
Ashley, look it up for us. Ashley's watching. She'll figure it out there. What's your favorite movie of all time?
Oh, jeez. I have several.
Really?
I like a lot of things. I'm not a big fan of sad movies.
Yeah.
I don't like to be sad. But well, of course. I mean, there's the classics. There's To Kill a Mockingbird.
Right.
And I liked Anne of Green Gables.
Okay.
A lot. I liked Walk the Line.
Walk the Line.
I really liked that one. I don't know. I just really...
Because you like Joaquin Cruz's portrayal of Johnny Cash? You know what? And I think that movie doesn't even go into the depths of how screwed up
probably not.
Johnny Cash is.
Yeah, I think if it made him look worse, nobody would really. I mean, you don't want to think about
Yeah.
how bad your idols are.
I didn't realize that he'd also had an affair with June Carter's sister as well.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and people don't know this either. That when he was in one of his drunken rages, he set a massive brush fire in California.
Oh, great!
That he was on the hook for.
Good job.
Ashley Phillips reporting in that if he sees his shadow, 6 more weeks of winter. So.
Oh, okay.
So 6 more weeks of winter.
Well, up there, aren't they?
They're done with it.
They're deep.
They're deep in the winter.
Yeah.
New York City got dumped on yesterday. Dumped on. One of the things I think is great about your column, though, is that you just kind of see little things, and they're little delightful things. And yesterday we showed it off to people who had not seen it yesterday, and we talked about the George Orwell Ann B. Davis, who was the maid Alice on there.
Yeah.
And people were really like, "What? Yeah, that's true."
Well, just first glance, I think it's the hair, and I don't know if you have it up, but
I can get it up here. Hold on, let me see.
I mean, just quick. I think it's the way the hair sweeps back off the forehead.
Let me get it up here so people can see it. Full screen it, and
I would never try to be insulting intentionally to anybody, but I just saw. I mean, they could be siblings or something.
Okay, let me see here. Here it is. Yeah.
Look, I mean, it's the tilt of the head, it's the hair off the little curl. And,
yeah. Right.
I don't know.
I mean, it really does, especially in I also think around the cheeks, in the mouth.
Yeah. There's just something.
If he shows some teeth,
there
it goes. Or if we painted a mustache on her.
Oh wow.
That might do it. You went to the Renaissance Festival. What was your thoughts on that?
It was fun. Okay, so I thought it was going to be really pared down because I went last year.
Right.
And they had a good attendance, and everybody was behaving and kind of distancing and stuff. And they had a good selection of vendors and booths.
Our story on it was that the vendors were thrilled to be there because a lot of them haven't worked.
I bet.
They're relying solely on the internet, but their main income comes from those events. And there's been no events this year.
Yeah.
It is a little weird to me that it's a Renaissance Festival, though, and there's almost no Renaissance stuff. It's like medieval times more than anything.
Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah. Oh, and I was surprised because I don't know. I mean, I'm not a in-depth follower of that genre.
Right.
But when it's there, you're fun, and I'm like, ooh, I could do that. But there's a lot of cosplay mixed in.
Oh, I know. It's weird.
Yeah. So
there was furries running around everywhere.
Yes,
what was with that?
So, which I don't follow really either. I mean, I'm aware of it. But, But I was like, and one girl in particular, I took a picture of her. She had kind of a fox furry going on.
Yeah.
With some Renaissance
bustier type of things.
Bodice thing, and it looked really good. She was wearing pants and the boots, and it looked good.
I was. Well, you said you wanted to buy a velvet dress.
Right. Well, but I like all the different. So I dress kind of tomboyish.
Yeah, you work at Tractor Supply. You need to.
I know, right? Especially there. But I like the fitted, the classic pants, leggings, boots look as well. But for the more feminine side. Did you?
Now here's the thing I thought was odd. They had Vikings.
Yeah.
And belly dancers.
Yes, I wondered if it made me wonder. I'm like, okay, belly dancers. I don't know how that fit in exactly.
I don't know how that fit in either. But is anybody who has a costume was pretty much invited. They should just call it.
I think it's just for fun.
They should just call it a costume party.
Right. And I think if anybody got too critical of it, it's like, just relax. It's just fun. Who cares?
So. You grew up in Kerrville.
I did. I was born in New Hampshire.
Right.
I hate to hurt anybody's feelings that
Northeastern
doesn't like Yankees.
Right.
But
was Maya born in New Hampshire as well?
No, she was born in Texas.
In Texas, okay.
Yeah.
So you guys came here.
Yep, and I grew up in Central Texas. Which makes me think about your story about the dogs.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, so when I was a kid, which is 40-something years ago, we had a dog that was shot, and it wasn't even chasing anything.
Right.
But ranchers, and I think, and I would have hoped that times had changed, that you don't just shoot first and then ask questions.
Right.
That you kind of care about the dog and the owner and look at the tag and see if what you can do. I mean, but I wasn't surprised when you said it.
Yeah.
I really wasn't, because we had a dog that was shot, and I think it might have even been still on our property.
Right.
We lived out in the country on some land, but they saw somebody driving by, a rancher, saw a dog running, and thought that's going to be a goat or sheep killing dog, and they killed our dog, and we're
yeah.
like, what do
It just seems like such a primordial type of thinking.
It's
though.
a little. Yeah, it's a little.
I mean, it seems like it seems like a Rin Tin Tin Old Yeller kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, hey Timmy, you better make sure that dog is leashed up, and if
Right.
not, I'm going to shoot it, and without question. But like to think that, the dog gets. I mean, I realize that the theory is, and I think this might be well, I don't know, maybe it's mythology, that if a dog kills once, it's going to kill all the time.
I have a Jack Russell,
mm-hmm.
and it did kill one of my chickens.
Did it?
I believe it did. I mean, there were 2 dogs near it, but I think he was the instigator. And he hasn't killed another one, but he likes. I think he likes the chase.
Yeah.
Anything that's going to run,
right.
The dog is going to chase
Right.
it and take off. And
listen, here's the thing with Jack Russells. If you look at Jack Russells, there's videos on YouTube. They're called ratting videos. And these farmers, it's like in the UK or something or wherever. I don't know. It's European. They dig up these crops or whatever it is, and there's rats everywhere, and the dogs are there, and it's the Jack Russells that are in the middle of it, just destroying rats.
Left and right.
Oh my God, it is unbelievable. And they basically have to pull the dead rat, and the way they kill them, they shake their head.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and there's bigger dogs there, like bigger terriers.
Yeah.
They have nothing on the Jack Russell.
Really?
Oh yeah, they're like they don't even know what to do.
I didn't know that before I got chickens, but he's been good since then. But even just yard birds, he'll I have a covered porch, and one will get in there, he'll corner it and kill it.
Yeah. We had a dog when I was a kid who was an Alaskan Malamute, and he killed birds because they irritated him one time, and so he waged war on birds we'd have to go in the backyard and have with trash bags pick up all the carcasses that he had killed. I mean, he killed hundreds of.
That's worse than a cat.
Oh yeah,
cats get the bad rap and they do.
He killed a hawk one
birds.
time. A hawk came down into the yard and he killed it.
Dang.
He killed possums, and I think it was the chase.
What kind of dog was it?
It was huge. It was like a German Shepherd Malamute mix.
Dang.
So, yeah.
Well, this has been uplifting so far.
Well, it's been a great conversation so far. Something for your column next. The other thing you wrote about in your column this week was the Renaissance Fair, and as Ashley points out, that anything goes in the Renaissance Fair.
Yeah.
That you also you made the mistake of shopping on Amazon or on Facebook, and you looked at pants.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Once you start stuff, they pop up, and that pants was, and I wouldn't wear them out necessarily to work,
but to have
lounge
have it home.
Sweatpants at home.
Yes.
They had these little triceratops on them.
Right.
And I was like, oh, those are cute, and I clicked on it, and they were for like
for
2-year-olds.
toddlers.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a great. I one got a lot of chuckles in my household. So, and then interesting thing too is that you like to reference things like, okay, so here's one. I don't think many people even know about the Marx Brothers anymore.
I wondered, I don't know. And I'm sure even if they do, have seen that in the histories or movies or whatever, have they actually seen the movie? Because, and I'm impressed when I call them kids, anybody from 25 under has seen any of that stuff. Because, their parents kind of introduced them.
I was just watching a video yesterday. It was really cool. It's a guy on Instagram who follows. He's a dancer from New York City, so he's pretty incredible to begin with. Mm-hmm. And he does a side-by-side comparison of himself dancing with Gene Kelly.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And it's really neat. Let me see if I can find it here.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
He is really something else, and it's interesting to see that. And it made me think that my daughter, she loves the movie White Christmas, and it's just like, well, who knows those movies, anymore?
Is your daughter in high school?
No, she's a college graduate now.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, so she knows all about this stuff. And, there he is, Puxatawny Phil. Predicted his emerge from his burrow on a snowy Sunday. Saw a shadow. And there he is. So he did see it. Yeah. Let me see here. By the way, if you want a good follow on Instagram, Camilla McConaughey. It's pretty good, good follow, because she's always messing with Matthew McConaughey's mom. They're like buddies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they do things together, and they're just funny.
I love it when people do that, like Ryan Reynolds and his wife.
Oh yeah,
Blake Lively. They spar on Twitter and stuff. It's pretty funny.
6 more weeks of winter. Look at that face. Aww. This looks like the face that I saw come on in that tree the other day. I got video of a porcupine climbing a tree here in Kerrville.
Really?
Yeah.
I've only seen that. I saw one in West Texas, Marfa or Alpine or somewhere.
They're weirdly large. You know, they're weirdly large.
Yeah,
there's McConaughey himself right there. I don't know what he's doing. He's in a Doritos commercial. Here's the guy right here. This guy is awesome. Okay, check this out. What's his name? Corey Lingler. Oh, this is the one that's amazing to me. Let me see if I can get this to go full screen here. Let's see here. Let's go enter full screen. Look at this guy. There we are. Okay, so here he is. He's dancing with the great Vera Ellen, who was in White Christmas. But look at this move.
Oh, my goodness. How do you...
I mean, look at this.
First of all, you have to study that video. I mean, obviously dancing probably comes naturally to him.
Right.
But he'd have to study the video and all the moves to get it so precise. And then how many times did he try that?
I don't know. It's incredible, though. And to think she's doing that in heels.
Yes. That's amazing.
Actually, she actually has flats on that particular one. But Vera Ellen was in White Christmas. She was the sort of love interest of Danny Kaye in White Christmas.
That is cool.
But if you look at this, here's the whole thing. How do I get out of this? Okay, come on, stop. Oh, it's up here. If you look at this, look at all these things here. So here he is with Fred Astaire. I mean, Fred Astaire is amazing.
Wow.
So if you like tap dancing, it's really pretty incredible.
My dad would have I'll have to show him that.
Yeah.
My dad wanted to tap dance.
Yeah.
And his dad thought it was
really dumb,
not masculine or
not masculine.
Something. So he couldn't do it, but
he
would have been good.
I mean, the thing that I find amazing is like, okay, here's the Gene Kelly one, right? And so, I mean, if you look at this right here, I mean, look at Gene Kelly.
That is pretty amazing.
Yeah. I mean, and this is the thing I love about, you talk about the Marx Brothers and things like that. There's just nobody out there that kind of does this stuff. These guys are incredible.
Yeah.
So I think he's dancing with Donald O'Connor on this particular one. But anyway, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
So Corey Ligner, he's from New York City, and he does all of these. That
is amazing.
Yeah, this is all of.
Like
look at all those videos here.
Wow.
So
that's a lot of time.
Yeah, this is the other one too. This is Vera Ellen and Danny Kaye from White Christmas. She's impossibly thin, by the way.
Right? Okay.
Now look at those heels.
How did their waist be that small?
I don't know.
I mean, even your rib cage,
right?
Or whatever. I mean,
well, it was the 50s. Those people were not allowed to eat or even function, because they're all in the studio system. But yeah, she was such an incredible dancer. Wow. Anyway, there we go.
Really cool.
Yeah. All right. So now we've been distracted by this. This show's off the rails. I love it. Okay. Then the other thing you talked about, so the Marx Brothers and there's so much stuff going on, like what you see on a daily basis. And you said you grew up here in Central Texas.
Yeah.
But then you grew up in Kerrville. Tell me again.
I did. So, okay. When my parents moved to Central Texas when I was a baby because my mom's family was here. Right. And then, so I actually lived outside of Kerrville. So I went to 1st through 5th grade in Center Point. Right. And then we moved to Vermont for a year. My dad got a job up there, and he got wooed back by his company here after a year up there, which was good because, I had a year. I made friends up there that I wouldn't have today. I was 12 and I got to experience some snow. Although I think we had just as much here that year. We kind of missed out. And then we moved back here, and then we moved to Kerrville, and I went to the Kerrville school system from 7th through 12th. And then you stayed. Did you ever leave? I did. I left right after high school and moved to Baton Rouge for 3 years. Oh, really? And then I moved back. How'd you like Baton Rouge? I liked it. I don't think I was emotionally ready to make that much of a move. Yeah. I came home quite a bit, and I I made friends, and
Yeah.
I had some great experiences.
Right.
And I still go back. I have one of my best friends lives there. So,
I stopped by Baton Rouge for the first time ever. It's kind of
really,
interesting. Yeah.
my mom came to visit. She's like, it's quite humid. It rains like every afternoon almost for just a few minutes, just to feel the humidity. And she's like, this is disgusting.
We stopped there in June in the morning, on a morning, I think it was Saturday morning. We were driving to Virginia, and oh my God, it was so hot.
It's extremely humid. It's
And
very green.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
The Bermuda grass was fabulous,
Yeah.
you know, but it was, I walked out to I wanted to see the state capitol building because it's
Huey
one of
Long and all that.
yeah, it's one of the more, it is the most unique state capitol in the country.
I haven't been in it, actually.
I haven't been in either.
by
Well, it was
but-
closed off because it was during the Black Lives Matter protests. So everything was
so just recently.
right. So there was actually a Black Lives Matter protest going on when I was there, a small one. But yeah, it was. But it's such an unusual. It's a skyscraper.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
it's very different.
Very tall and narrow.
And Huey Long is looking up at it lovingly.
Yeah.
So. But Baton Rouge. I mean, Louisiana is just a different place.
It's a different place. Yeah.
There's like the poutine billboards every 5 minutes. Or what is that? What is that? Poutine? What is the food they eat there? It's not even
Boudin.
Yeah.
Poutine is, I think, Canadian.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So Boudin. Yeah.
Yeah. Every 5 minutes there was right.
Because everybody thinks there's, we have the best.
Did I tell you what my observations driving through the South was? I was surprised by this, right? So we drove from here to Virginia. So we drove the southern route through Louisiana, Mississippi, up through Alabama and Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. It's basically wall-to-wall trees the entire way.
So many trees.
Right? Trees.
You can't see.
Yeah. And then there'll be a Waffle House. And you keep going.
Yes,
trees, Waffle House. Trees. So finally, I think we were in South Carolina. I said, I got to stop at one of these Waffle Houses. I'd never been to the Waffle House.
No.
And I actually enjoyed it.
So my friend that lives in Baton Rouge, Gloria, we go gamble, and then lately, I used to not be a night owl, and I'm still generally not, but when I go there, we gamble, and you don't know what time it is in a casino, and so it's late, it's midnight, 3 in the morning or whatever.
Right.
We go to Waffle House, and that's an experience.
You can still do that now, huh? You can still stay until 3 o'clock in the morning gambling, and then go to Waffle House.
Yeah.
See, that escaped me. That escaped me a long time
I mean,
ago.
that's not like I never was a partier,
Right.
party all week and go to work the next. No, I'm pretty much, but occasionally I can do it. Yeah.
I used to go to Vegas pretty regularly. I mean, when I lived in California.
I've only been, I think, once. Yeah.
So I've been to Vegas I more times than I can count. And one time I remember I was like 35 years old, and there was like 9. We'd go for the NCAA basketball tournament. It would be great. It'd be a lot of fun. I mean, to me, like, if you're going to gamble, that's like, I want to gamble on sports.
Oh, really? On sports? Okay.
And I want to watch the game. I want to have a little action in the game. And then, that particular trip I made a little bit of money, which was kind of fun. But we were staying in what they call the Imperial Palace, which is like the grossest place in the world.
Is it in the old part?
It's on the Strip, and they've redone it and stuff, So but in the back of it, there's like the old motel part. Mm-hmm. And that's where we stayed. You can stay there for like $30 a night. But there was like 9 guys, right?
Yeah.
There was like a guy in our room that was sleeping on, like he was covered up with newspapers. And I was like,
wow.
I was telling my friend, I said, listen, dude, you're a school teacher. I'm a journalist. We're both professional people. This is the last time I ever stay with these guys again. I'm getting my own room somewhere else, because I like to sleep, at some point.
Yeah.
Even in Vegas, where people are up until 4 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning gambling, like, no, I'm going to go to bed at midnight.
That's your limit.
Okay, so, you get here, you stay here. What brought you back?
I missed my family. It wasn't going well with my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I just was ready to move back. So I did that a few times, actually. This is like my home base. Like, I'd come back, regroup. I've lived in Chicago. Remember when day trading in the 90s?
Yeah, right.
So I moved to Chicago for it was supposed to be for a couple months to help my uncle open a day trading firm.
Okay.
Which I did, but I ended up staying for 9 months, and that was fun. It was a little bit expensive, and
Chicago's a cool town.
it was great. I love Chicago.
I think the thing I like about Chicago is the food. I don't know why, but
they have good food.
they have great sandwiches, great pizza.
Good Italian food.
Good Italian food. It's a beef city too, so there's always kind of interesting things to eat there. I thought it was a great place. So.
Yeah, I liked it. And then I moved back here, and then where else did I live? Oh, I moved to Austin.
Yeah.
And then I moved from Austin to San Antonio, and that's where I lived the longest.
San Antonio.
14 years, yeah.
But
I
now
lived
you're
for
here.
about 9 months down in Rockport. I worked at I was like, I'm tired of having jobs I don't like, and
Yeah.
so I moved down to Rockport and worked at Seaworthy Marine and did kayak lessons and sold boat parts and shoes. And
So you're somebody you have to be busy all the time.
I do like to be busy. Yeah.
So now you're working for the foundation. You work at
Yeah.
Harbor or at Harbor Freight. That's where I want to work at.
Tractor.
At Tractor Supply.
Yeah.
What is the best thing at Tractor Supply? What is the thing that stands out to you the most about Tractor Supply when you look at like what's there? Like if you had your employee discount, like you're gonna get that right away. What would you get?
Oh. I like some. They have some. They don't have enough women's clothes here, but they have like some good jackets and stuff.
Yeah.
But they have some decent tools, power tools.
Right.
They have kayaks, but I'm holding out for a little bit better.
A little bit better one.
Yeah.
Have you kayaked at the Guadalupe?
I haven't.
Really?
Nope. And I have never. Get this. I'm going to be run out of town. I have never tubed down the river.
Is that right?
That is correct. Have you?
I've not. No, I've not stepped foot in the Guadalupe River yet.
Really?
Yeah,
We used to swim in it as a kid,
Yeah.
and then they had some kind of, you get an ear infection scare, and I was like, I'm out.
some kind of parasite.
I mean, then that was 40.
I think that your brother-in-law, who I know really well,
He's a little bit of a river rat.
he's a river rat.
Yeah.
Like he will. I believe that what he does is he walks down to the river, takes a dip in the river, and then walks to Shriner.
Does he?
I think that's
I'm
what
not
I think.
surprised.
I think that's what he does.
Yeah.
I can see. He seems like that kind of guy who would run it. Like I'm gonna run. I'm gonna run down to the river,
yeah.
jump
Yeah.
in,
Yes.
towel off, and then run down to Shriner.
Yeah,
6
he's a
miles,
trip.
whatever it is.
So when he and Maya were dating, he was
We're talking about Jeremy Walther, by the way. The
yeah,
owner
he
of
was
Pine
he
Bluff.
was still in college. I think he was in his last year, and he lived down at Port Aransas for a while because
Right.
of some fisheries deal they have there. And he in his apartment had talk about minimalist. He had I think a chair and maybe a table, a bed on the floor, a pot. I mean he could.
The ultimate bohemian lifestyle.
Yeah, he's definitely he could do that. Drop you in the forest and find your way out there.
Right,
I couldn't
right.
do that.
And then your sister Maya's here as well, and we saw Maya yesterday at the opening. And your mom's here. Your mom makes is Daisy's apple cake, which is probably the number one selling food item, I would have to say, here at Pine
It's
Plow.
good, and they give you a huge piece.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I think
Right.
they're usually out when I come
Right.
because it's popular. It's good for breakfast if you're, so inclined.
Russell has weighed in.
Russell, what does
Yes.
Russell have to say?
I don't know. It seems borderline sexual harassment, but should I read it?
Sure.
Okay. It says her favorite thing at Tractor Supply is asking good-looking dudes for their phone numbers when they check out.
Yes.
That's what you do. Okay.
I say, can I have your phone number, please?
Ah, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's right. Phone number for your
For your rewards account,
rewards
but
account.
I
Russell takes it the wrong way.
several people do, and
Yeah.
yeah. So he, and he lets me know at the time. He's like, "Well, you're not going to call, or whatever." So
We got to a place in this world now where we don't remember phone numbers.
we don't
Right.
like the people. I ask them at the register. I'm like, "Can I get your phone number?"
Yeah.
First of all, I'm not great with numbers. I'm
Right.
better with words and
Right.
stuff. So I get it, but a lot of times it'll be under their wife's account
Right.
or name or whatever. No, can't do it.
There's
No
only
idea.
there's
we
only,
don't ever have to dial it.
I
like,
mean there's
physically.
only so many numbers. Like, okay, the numbers I remember, still, like, here's the crazy thing, right? My best friend in high school, or my best friend growing up, I still remember his phone number.
Really?
Yeah, and it's still his phone number to this day.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and then what's weird, I had two best friends, two guys I've been friends with for more than 40 years, and I remember his old house phone number, not his new house phone number. So it's like, hey Scott, I still remember.
I think there's something to that. Learn new languages and learn instruments when you're a kid because man, yeah, any new numbers and I can't remember. What about movie lines. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm not as good.
Of
course, I don't watch them 17
music
times.
music lyrics. There's certain movie lines. If it's a simple, like anything that Darth Vader says, I pretty much remember.
Yeah.
Apology accepted, Captain Nita. She drops dead. Impressive, most impressive.
But my mom can remember, especially the old numbers. I mean, she's. I tease her. I'm like, okay, Rain Man. She can remember my license plate number and stuff. I'm like,
I can't remember any of that.
No.
I don't even know what my license plate. Well, I've had 3 different license plates on this particular car.
I
so
mean,
I
I
have no
can
idea.
know because I have a car that everybody else also has in this area. It's a silver Escape, and so I mean there are 1,000 of them.
Right.
So I can recognize my my license plate, but I couldn't tell it to you off the top of my head.
Cindy Dawn Hutzler saying Nissan.
Cindy. So Cindy is like a relative to me.
Okay.
Yeah, she's
Says,
good.
You and my days on the air. Good to see your face.
Yes,
There
I
you
miss
go.
her.
Yeah,
she's been quarantina. I mean, she's
been quarantined. I know you can't. I know you didn't want to talk about COVID necessarily, but I mean, I have to ask a question to everybody.
Sure.
How has COVID changed your life personally? What have you done? To take it
Personally,
seriously?
I was thinking about it last night. And I'm kind of an introvert.
Yeah.
So for me to say that I miss going out like a normal,
Yeah.
evening out.
Right.
And I miss my friends and doing sort of, that's how it's changed my life. Because I'm tired of wearing masks too,
Yeah.
frankly.
Right.
But I believe in it. I'm not saying don't.
Right. But it's annoying.
Yeah, I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
And I think that I read something, and I believe it, that babies born during this time are having trouble imprinting faces because they're missing half of it. So
it's the masks,
I
right?
think that's a long-term
And you
effect.
can't tell people, what their expressions are, if they're happy, if they're sad.
I know.
Yeah,
You really have to make your eyes like,
right.
I'm happy. But so personally, I've been out quite a bit because more than most people, because I work, I continue to work.
Right.
I did have COVID.
Oh, did you really?
I did.
I didn't know that.
Very end of June and the beginning of July. And for me, it wasn't that bad. I lost my sense of taste and smell, and I was extremely tired for a very long time.
Right.
And back at that time, when you got the test, I don't know, they were still trying to figure it out, and it took a week to get the results. So by then I felt
you're
okay, but then I still had to be quarantined.
Right.
So, but it has affected family gatherings. We tend to not get together as much. I mean,
Right.
a few of us that get together regularly still do, but the outer circle of family, we don't.
Do you know how you got it by chance? Do you know what your suspicion is on that?
I think it was just working with the public.
Yeah.
And I was wearing my mask and I sanitized, but I wasn't overly cautious.
Yeah.
And I think
it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
It is hard. And I'll tell you, I mean, I don't want to get into, I have no opinions that represent the hospital.
Right.
I'll tell you that.
Of course.
And I don't have super strong opinions, but I did get the first vaccine.
Yeah.
And it's because, and I felt kind of guilty. I'm like, somebody else could have this, but it's because my boss at the hospital is, he's not, I'm not going to say he's old, but he's getting up in years and he has some immuno.
Right. So protecting him would be key.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's key. And I do work with the public.
Right.
So I don't want to, I don't want to spread it.
Well, I think that's important though, is that, that's the I think everyone at the hospital should be,
right.
Who,
and I don't deal with I don't deal with the patients.
Yeah.
I'm down a wing of,
right.
solitude kind of, but still the environment. But I work at Tractor with all the public and
yeah.
So
And that's the thing that's interesting about this is that there's been in your experience is like typical for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I've lost my sense of smell and the taste. It's weird.
Really, really tired.
And then I'm really tired.
I mean, honestly, the vaccine, and I think everybody should get it that can, but the side effects of that were worse than the actual COVID.
Really?
For me.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I know I have some friends whose mom just died here in town from COVID, and that's devastating. I mean, it's horrible. But for me, the vaccine, really punched it in, and it was 24 hours.
Yeah.
It was like joint aches, super tired, a little bit of fever, but my joint aches were significant. But it was like a bell went off.
Yeah.
24 hours, it was like, oh, I feel
You're done now. It's better.
Yeah.
My mom had the second dose of Moderna, and it made her really sick.
Yeah.
And,
I'm a little nervous about the second dose. I've only had the first.
Now, I think my brother, he had the first dose of Moderna. My mother works in a hospital. My brother works as a firefighter. The first dose made him sick. The second dose did not make him sick. So it's all over the place.
It is, and I can't even begin to guess all the variables that make somebody react or not.
And I know people now who are trying to get the Pfizer one too, which is difficult because Pfizer requires a certain amount of really intensive cold storage. Which another thing, by the way, folks, in my earlier rant, if you missed it, talking about the issues with vaccine. Remember, Pfizer requires ultra cold storage, and there's not enough of these storage facilities to go around. In fact, Peterson had made it very clear that they would not have that available until the end of this month or end of last month, the end of January, 1st of February. So that could be another reason why we weren't picked as a regional hub. The reason why they were looking at the Methodist Church to become the vaccine center was that proximity to the hospital as well. So, there's a lot of issues before you jump on the bandwagon. And then believe me, I am not nice to the Kerr County sometimes, but I don't believe for a minute that I don't think anybody's really at fault here. I think what happened was that some things got crossed, and I just think that now I could say that when this was going on in October, that the county was still kind of wrestling with the fact that the virus was still a real thing. But at that point in October, also remember too that Judge Kelly made the brave decision to say, you know what, we're going to go back to wearing masks. This thing's out of hand. We're not out of the woods yet either, folks. We had 15 hospitalizations yesterday at Peterson, which is the lowest we've seen since November 24th. But the bad news about this is that these variants, which I had an article about that in the lead this week, talking about what's out there, and now they suspect there's actually a fourth variant that's actually grown here in the developed here in the United States, and that's from Los Angeles. And so, and you can make all your jokes you want to about Los Angeles anyway being a disease, but it's real because they figure 1 in 3 residents of Los Angeles County, 10 million people had coronavirus at some point. So pretty stunning stuff. All right, Nissa, you're going to write again. All right, I already got your column for the next edition. I'm excited about it. Will there be any discussion about, there's discussions about chickens and ducks, and you made the decision that ducks just don't work for you.
They don't.
And they just make messes.
Well, and then I had these ducks. First of all, a couple things. My neighbor yesterday said he's more of a night owl. Yeah. And because of COVID, he's even inside even more. He's a great guy. Yeah. But he said, hey, I see you got some chickens. I'm like, where have you been? How'd you miss the ducks? I mean, they're so annoying and loud. Quack, 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 quack. I had the ducks for a while, and Maya said, you're not supposed to have ducks in town. I said, well, be quiet then. You know? I mean, so yeah, they're just a handful. They started, all of my animals are bratty, first of all. I don't have control over any of them. But, they were loud, they were messy, they were starting to be mean to the dog, who kind of deserved it. It was a Jack Russell. He had knows them enough that they were like, oh, now I'm bigger than you. Yeah, so right. Here we go. Right. And then I've heard some ducks on the river, and I thought, I bet you and couldn't take it anymore, and dropped him off in the middle of the night.
There you go.
But I had a friend that took them.
Oh, the duck eggs are pretty good, though.
Actually, Jeff, the chef from Pint and Plow, took them for me. Yeah. And I made him promise that he wouldn't eat them, and he said he would not.
But he probably would take the eggs, though.
Yeah, if they
duck
lay,
eggs
I'm
are
sure.
Pretty good, yeah. All right, everybody, listen, here's the deal. On tomorrow's show, we are out of time, believe it or not. Tomorrow's show will be interesting. We'll talk about real estate and the real estate market. Believe it or not, in December, this is amazing. In the middle of the pandemic, there was more real estate sold than 2019 in 2020, December 2020. Yep, 77 homes were sold. There was only 219 listed. Wow. The year before, there was 440 sold, and they sold 70. Now, the value was a little bit higher in 2019 than 2020, but still, the market is red hot still, and so we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Thursday, Delane Siegerman will be here. It's going to be a great show. I can't wait. Allison Boucher, who, by the way, I had a power outage this morning. Capo was Johnny on the spot, got it restored within about an hour. But Alice Boucher of K-Pub will be there. And it's good to remind me because I need to pay my bill to K-Pub as well. And then Kristen Hedger from Killdeer Mountain Manufacturing will be here. And I'm excited for that. Delane will be talking to her about what they've got planned over with their project for Killdeer Mountain Manufacturing. And then and Kristen, of course, is a Tyvee grad and being back here in Kerrville and what that means for her. And then on Friday, Furry Friday, we'll be back over at Kerrville Pets Alive or here. We're not sure where we're going to be at this point, but we'll be there. Also talking about the Super Bowl on Friday too. So have a great rest of your day, everybody. If you need to, please feel free to become a member or a patron of the Lead. We thank you guys very much for your support. And again, we will see you guys again on Wednesday. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Just make believe no one